Okay, so welcome to Module 22, the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. This module has 3 lessons in it, so let's get started. Are you curious about how you can use web analytics to see how you are performing in organic search results? In this video, we'll touch on monitoring organic search traffic, using data to gain valuable insights about how your site is evaluated by search engines and how you can troubleshoot SEO issues uncovered by analytics. Search engines are an important source of traffic for most websites. In fact, they are very often the single biggest source of traffic to a business site. But are you getting more or less of that traffic from search engines over time? What do all of those searchers actually do after they get to your site? And most importantly, how can you improve your site to make sure the search engines are sending you people who are interested in your products and services? If you are thinking that web analytics has the answers to these questions, you are spot on. No matter which web analytics tool you are using, you'll be able to monitor how many visitors are coming to your site from organic search results from the different search engines. If you are paying an agency or consultant to maintain your site for you, you should ask them for access to your website's analytics data. Once you've got access to that data, one of the first things you will want to check out is how your traffic from search engines is trending over time. If you are getting more visitors from search engines, that's great. But if your traffic is trailing off, you probably got some work to do. Either way, before you can make any decisions, you'll need to know the why, and that means we need to dig deeper. If you are using Google Analytics as your web analytics tool, you can dig deeper by learning which keywords people are typing into Google before they reach your site. That data doesn't necessarily come from the analytics tool itself, but because Google Analytics can integrate data from Google Search Console, you get to see that kind of information. Remember our example of the guest house. You might see that people are searching for things you wouldn't have expected, like luxury guest houses in Glasgow or cheap Glasgow bed and breakfast to your site. This can help you get a sense of what your visitors are really looking for, and you can respond to that by building the right content and pages to fit their needs. You'll also be able to see whether you are getting more or fewer visitors from any given keyword team, as well as whether or not visits to those pages end up with actual bookings. Let's say you are noticing that you used to be getting more traffic for a certain search term, but that traffic has been gradually declining. What can you do to turn things around? Well, you might start by taking a look at some of the content on your site. How can you ensure that your content is as relevant as possible to users who are looking for that luxury guest house? Could you rewrite some of your text to focus on the fact that you've got a high-end guest house? Remember, you are not reworking your content to suit a search engine. You are working on it to make it match your existing business better and to make it as relevant and useful as possible to people who are searching for luxury guest houses. If you want to know even more about optimizing your pages, check out some of the other videos on SEO. Now, what about the opposite scenario? Maybe you found that you are getting more traffic from people searching for keywords around that luxury guest house theme. That's great, but how can you build on that? Again, you want to focus on what is relevant to the people who are searching. What are some of the exclusive high-end features of your guest house? Have you included content on your site that talks about your gourmet breakfast, the fancy cocktails you're offering on Saturday afternoon? Adding more useful content about the luxury aspects of the guest house could help search engines point more relevant users to your site. If you have invested some time in improving your content, you will want to know what the impact is, and web analytics can show you this. If you're expecting your content to be more relevant to people searching for luxury guest houses, Google Analytics can show you whether that effort is translating into more visitors reaching your website. So far, we've been focusing on analyzing the amount of traffic of visitors that are reaching your website after searching. That's really important. But keep in mind that even more traffic than the amount that even more important than the amount of traffic you are getting is the quality of the traffic that you are getting. After all, what's the use of attracting loads of people to your site if nobody is going to book a stay at your guest house? Remember, analytics doesn't just tell you where people are coming from, it also tracks what they do on the site. So take a look at the teams that are driving conversions on your goals as well as visits. If all this work on luxury themes has got you more traffic, but people are not engaging with your content, they are not signing up for your email newsletter, and they are not reserving their rooms, you may want to investigate why, or even consider shifting your focus somewhere else. Web analytics can be a great tool for your SEO efforts, helping you measure how much traffic you are getting from search engines, where you might be able to make improvements, and the impact of changes you are making to your site. So if you are focused on SEO, put on that analysis hat and start digging into your data. So let's check our knowledge for lesson 1 in this module. Linda runs a guest house. She wants to use analytics to measure traffic coming to her site from organic search results. What can she learn from analytics reports? Yes. Yes. No. Okay. Move to the next lesson. Okay, lesson 2, tools to measure SEM. I'm sure we still remember what SEM is, search engine marketing. Okay, it's basically pay per click on Google. It's time to talk about using analytics to get the most out of your search engine marketing campaigns. We are going to look at how you can use analytics to figure out which keywords are the best ones for you to bid on, how to tailor your bids to make them more effective, and how to decide how much to bid for the spots that are the most cost effective for you. So let's get started. With search engine marketing, you are spending money. The good news is with analytics, you can track what you spent where and understand where it was spent most effectively. Remember that guest house we've been talking about? Well, let's take this a bit further and pretend that it offers 3 themed rooms: King Arthur, Modern Romance, and Football Fanatic. To promote each of these, let's say you decide to run separate search campaigns with the goal of getting people to visit your site and take a video tour of one of these rooms. Business is pretty good, but you like to take it to the next level. With an analytics tool, you can check the keywords you are using for each of your campaigns and immediately see which are the most effective. Let's say you are looking at your modern romance campaign. You notice that when your keywords romantic guest house and guest house for a romantic weekend were used, the visitor took a video tour of that room about 5% of the time. This is known as a 5% conversion rate for the goal of taking the video tour. But when people search for keywords like luxury romantic guest house or luxury romantic guest house, okay, the conversion rate drops to only 1%. You've just found something you can improve, and there are lots of ways you might choose to do it. First, you might look at the relevant pages on your site and see if there are changes you could make. Take a look at all your luxury adverts and test some different messages that might really highlight either the video tour itself or the luxury aspects of the guest house. Whatever you decide to do, the key is that you'll still be tracking what happens after you make your changes, and that means you'll be able to see if your fixes raise that conversion rate from 1% to something better. That covers a few different ways you can measure the keywords you are bidding on, but that's just one part of it. Analytics can also help you understand the impact of the actual ads you are running. You know that you want to write ads that are clear and compelling to the user, but ultimately those users will decide what clear and compelling means to them, of course, and that's where analytics can help. Sticking with this modern day romance campaign, let's say you have 2 different ads with 2 different headlines. One reads Lockout House and the other reads Romantic Weekend Accommodation. Analytics tools can show you how these compare side by side. You can see which one is more likely to get a click and send someone to your site, and which one is more likely to get the visitor to take that video tour. This will tell you which one you should be using, and you can even use the insights you learn here across other campaigns and other areas of your site. Last, analytics tools can help you understand just how much you should be bidding for ads to make sure you are getting a good return on your SEM investments. By using Google Analytics, which integrates deeply with Google Ads, you can see the keywords and ads driving people to your site and what they do when they get there. But you can also see quite a bit more. For example, how much you had to pay for each of those clicks and how high up the results page your bids put your ads. This gives you a lot of clarity into both what you are getting for your investment, as well as if it makes sense for you to bid higher or lower to reach different positions that work for your business. Let's say you are not the only guest house in town and you've got some competition from Stuart's guest house. You might see that when you bid enough to outdo Stuart and your ad is in the top spot, it results in a conversion rate of 2%. But if you keep digging, your analytics tool might also tell you that when you bid lower and end up underneath Stuart, you get a little less traffic, but your conversion rate jumps up to 4%. Of course, the ideal position and bid for you will depend on lots of things, and you might find that it is better to be higher or better to be lower. But the key is that by using analytics, you will know exactly where you perform the best, and that means you'll be getting more out of your investment than your competition. Whether you're analyzing your keywords, your ads, or you are bidding in your campaigns, analytics tools are essential to get the most out of your same investments. So before you make another update to your campaigns, make sure you drive those decisions with data. Okay, so let's check our knowledge for lesson 2. Linda owns a guest house and has a website where customers can book and pay for rooms in advance. Linda uses SEM to create targeted ads for her rooms. She's now looking at the analytics data for the different ad campaigns she runs. Take a look at the analytics data for the 3 campaigns. Which one campaign is performing least well? Okay, move to the final lesson for this module. Breaking down your data for insights. In this video, we are going to take a look at a web analytics technique called segmentation. It helps you break down and understand the data you get from web analytics in smaller chunks to help you get more insights and improve your website's performance. Let's go back to the guest house example, where one of your goals is to get people to book a room at the guest house. If you use your web analytics tool and look at your high-level data, you might learn that only 3% of all your website visitors are indeed signing up. To understand this a little better, you can use segmentation to break down all those visitors by different groupings. First, let's break it down by geographic segments, starting with country. As it turns out, when we look at our visitors by where they live, there are some big differences in whether or not they book a room, and that makes sense. People in the UK, for example, represent a big percentage of our visitors, and they are converting at 6%, which is twice the average rate. When we look at visitors from the US, though we see a fair bit of traffic, but a really low conversion rate of 1%, immediately you've got a good idea. Adding a bit of content tailored to American visitors could help you get more bookings. For example, adding some information about the best ways to get to the guest house after landing at Heathrow could help. Let's dive deeper. We'll break down the UK segment even further into specific cities. Here, we can see that London and Leeds stand out as more likely to make a reservation. Perhaps running some local advertising campaigns in those cities could help you get more bookings. So what's the big deal with segmentation? Well, as you are starting to see, segmentation gives you some insights you can take action on. Let's back up and segment by something different. How about the ways people are getting to our site? This can help us answer questions like, are people who come from social media more likely to book a room? When you break down your visitors by where they came from, you can see the differences between your organic search traffic, paid search traffic, social media traffic, and more. And this can help you decide where you want to invest your time and resources as you build up your digital marketing campaigns across lots of different channels. Let's do one more. This time, we'll chop up our visitors by the kind of device they are using, and we'll be able to see any differences between things like desktop computers, tablets, and smartphones. Here, we get more valuable information. People on computers and tablets are booking to the tune of 4%, but people on smartphones almost never make a reservation. To improve things, you could work on making your site more mobile-friendly or see if there are issues with how your online booking process is working on smartphones that you can fix. And that might help increase the number of bookings that you are getting, another impactful insight. So that's segmentation. Of course, you can slice and dice by just about anything that piques your curiosity. But the general idea is this: break things down into smaller groups and find insights that can help you figure out how to improve. So dive in, start segmenting, and see what kinds of answers you can find. So let's check our knowledge for this final lesson in this module. Linda runs a successful guest house in the center of Guildford. She promotes the guest house online and has a website where customers can book and pay for rooms in advance. Linda wants to use segmentation to break down her analytics data. What information about the visitors can she gather by using this? Devices used, the visitors city, the visitors country, the number of clicks on a page. No. Okay, so let's do a module assessment. Most web analytics tools can tell you what information about the user. Most web analytics tools can tell you what information about the user. Fill in the blank. If an ad is not performing well, one effective tactic is to which section of Google Analytics can tell you whether visitors have found your website via email? Okay, so that's it for module 22. See you again in the next video, which will be module 23. So we are getting closer.